cool, she's popular,
Yeah.
she'll sell.
Yeah.
But at least
Exactly.
now, at least we're recognizing, wait a sec, let's not go that route. At least we're at
Right.
least advancing a little bit and getting there,
Yeah.
which is good. You know,
Which is good. Yeah, I agree.
I think at this point, maybe we should start the actual interview since we
Let's
already
do it.
jumped right into a deep conversation here. Unexpected, which is my favorite kind. Again, folks, welcome to Take Two Podcast. I am joined by the Michelle Miller. She's a phenomenal actress and an even better podcast host of Mentors on the Mic. I only say that because I haven't seen you act in anything yet, so I'm gonna cover my bases. But I have heard you host a podcast, and you do a phenomenal job. I
Thank you.
love your show because you talk to production people and you talk to people behind the scenes more so and make it very interesting. And that's the part that I've quickly binged your show very quickly because of the interesting aspects you've made of the behind the scenes thing. So I should probably let you talk. Michelle, welcome to Take Two Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for that really strong compliment because, you've been doing this for a while and you know what you're doing and you're so great. Listened to your episodes. So that's a
Oh,
huge
thanks.
compliment. Thank you.
Um, Little things about your show where just recently, I think you and I were chatting with the email. You made an interview with a gentleman about tagging.
Yes,
Interesting. And I was like
I
into it. I
thought
was
so
like,
too.
that's a crazy job that he got into, a niche that he found and then made it work for him. And I was just, as edge of the seat as you can be during a podcast. And that's what I really have been enjoying. You talk to people who were interns who are now VPs and heads of things. So
Yeah.
where did your mind come or where did your thought process come into these are the people we should chat with?
Yeah, it's a great question. I just find a lot of people very fascinating. Like, I think people more like, you think about like the major actors and producers and all of those people, very interesting. But I really like to hear about maybe stuff that people wouldn't always feel compelled to ask, which is like how they started and then how they moved up, right? So if you have someone who's a huge producer, I also want to hear about your time in the mailroom because I find that interesting because the person who started off in the mailroom ended up being that producer director, and I find that most people within their journeys will be like surprised when looking back at how much all of those individual experiences led to exactly what they're doing today.
Sure.
So, for example, in the case of Arun, who's doing like metadata and tagging and all this stuff, which I didn't really know much about, by the way, I just like kept hearing and be like, oh, tagging, metadata. I can kind of look it up and understand what it is. Um, but I just shook my head no. But the point being is there's something really interesting about having people just explain what they're doing. And I found that to be something I enjoy doing, even like around the table. Like if you're out to dinner with people, people don't usually like talking about their jobs, which I find to be so strange because they're doing it for so much of the week, right?
Right.
And I get it
Yeah.
and I totally respect it. But you think about like what you do usually is very interesting to someone else. They're just not, maybe you're not used to talking about it so much. There's
Sure.
something nice about really having people go through their whole journey and going like, this is what I did. This is how I led to this. That one person who I met randomly 2 years ago, they actually posted about a job and that was my next job at Disney. And it's like, how do you fall into these things? So
So
I
cool.
think that's really cool. Yeah, me too.
Very cool. All right. So you started in June. You've got about 9 episodes out now.
Exact 8 episodes.
Eight.
My
Okay.
eighth. Yeah, no, it's been really cool. It's been really, really fun. I think I started really focusing on it a month or two before June, just to kind of be like, I read a book, I talked to some podcast hosts. I was like, what's this like? I mean, as you know, there's a lot to it
Hmm.
than just
Hmm.
finding the people to interview. And I really wanted to do an interview-based podcast because I wanted to really showcase other people's stories that like you might not hear about normally, or you might not learn about. And yeah, I don't know why it's been really sort of different. Every interview's been different. They're all different types of people. Some are younger, some are much older, some are sort
Right.
of mid-age. Like it's been really cool.
So being an actress, with everything going on in the world and everything kind of shut down, maybe did
Yeah.
this kind of fill that creative void for you and kind of get this spark going?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
been just this like welcomed, unbelievable love that just has sparked from this because I really, really enjoy it, all of it. I do. And so, yeah, when the whole when the whole industry shut down, which you never thought you'd say,
Right.
There was something beautiful about it because it just gave me time to be like, okay, well, what else do I want to do that I really haven't felt like I had time for? And I'm sure, I mean, a lot of people started podcasts during this whole time, but I think it just makes sense because it's something you can really control on your own. Like with acting, and we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, but with acting, you're always waiting really for someone to give you a part. Like unless you're creating your own work, you're always waiting for, you know, that audition to come by and for you to get chosen. And your odds are it's crazy odds. So whether you even get the audition or appointment, let alone book it. And then once you book it, to actually be able to film it. So that's happened a couple times to me, but we can talk about it.
Sure.
So this is nice because like I really have agency over it. You know, I find the person, that person says yes, you know, normally, you know, there's not an issue with that. And then I get to put the whole thing together myself. So it's been a really creative just joy for me. Yeah.
I believe it. Our show was created because I'm an actor as well. And at work,
Yeah.
other guys and I would chat about movies all the time. And then at some point, like you said, going on audition, you're waiting. There's that creative in you that you just want to do something. And then what happened for myself and my partner, Tony, and our other host is it just gets addicting. Like you're just like, oh, I like this podcasting because it's you and you get to put you still into the world and out there and then let people subscribe literally to you. So it's your own personal art. So I totally get everything that you're saying and welcome to the addiction, I should say.
Thanks. I'm welcome. I'm happy to be here.
So directors, you know, network executives, that's the part that I'm absolutely loving. Mentors on the mic. Is it mic or microphone? Which one do you go by?
Mic. Mentors on the mic. Yeah.
Mentors on the mic. Folks, you need to check it out. It's definitely our podcast recommendation for the week that on the show. We'll chat about it more often. But now I want to get into some hard questions for you.
Sure.
From New York.
Ready. Yes.
Most important question I have for any New Yorker is Yankees or Mets?
Yankees.
Okay, good. We can keep talking then. I was a little worried.
I found out that a relative was a Mets fan recently. I'm not going to call him out, but I just, it was so like, it's almost like computer can't compute. Like, how did that happen? How did you as an anomaly happen? So.
Every family has that one black sheep.
I know. We don't talk about him.
Although right now is not a lot of good times to talk about with the Yankees. They're not playing good baseball right now, but that's okay. You were on the Rosie O'Donnell show?
I was, yeah. When I was in second grade, a bunch of us from my elementary, it's so random. A bunch of us from my elementary school, let's say like 8 or 10, maybe less, to 8. My acting teacher at the time, she was like a public school drama teacher. I don't know how she got some sort of connection to be on the Rosie O'Donnell show, and she chose 8 of us to do it or so. And we were on 2 episodes.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So the most important thing is not like what guest did you meet? Did you meet her? Did you catch the little koosh balls that she shot out at the end?
I didn't, but we got our own koosh balls as a goodie bag. Yeah, they treated us well there. The first episode that we were on, I think, was a birthday episode, and we filmed it at our school. So we were like, oh, super comfortable. We get this, so cute. And then the second one, we went to the studio and they gave us little goodie bags and koosh balls were in them. We also got T-shirts. I was like, this is great.
I was addicted to that. My brother and sister and I, we get home from school and we'd have to watch it just to watch if she would hit the koosh ball thing at the end, which is pretty unique. Okay, so you did some off-Broadway stuff.
Yep.
Singing, dancing, just plays?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always took singing and dancing lessons until I realized, oh, this is really not my strength. Like it's not. And you think about like the people, I once heard a story where someone really wanted to be an actor / musical singer or whatever. And her contact or whatever, someone she knew or family friend put her on stage on Broadway and went, sing. And she was like, it was an empty audience. But the whole point was that if you can't sing on that level, then like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how much, it's just not my strength. Sure. I really like straight plays. I like watching musicals. Of course, it's not my thing to do like the singing, dancing anymore. But I grew up doing it. I grew up singing and dancing and taking classes and doing musicals. And then I stopped.
Agreed on all the, actually, I can show you, this is my Broadway wall.
Yes, I saw that. Oh no, I saw that. That's it's a great wall.
At some point you have to just hit that, like, I'm just good with watching these at this point.
Yes, I'm with
perfectly.
you.
All right, so bringing, all right, a little bit closer. You just had a short When the World Was Young, just released recently. Something I was trying to look up. Yes,
Oh,
no,
I don't
no,
think so. No.
no. Okay, IMDb lied to me then. My research, I was
Oh,
doing good.
unless, there's a lot of Michelle Millers. Is there a chance it was a different Michelle Miller IMDb? Because mine is under Michelle Simone Miller. I don't
She
know.
looked like you. Okay, never mind. We'll
It
check out that
could be.
later.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Sometimes these, IMDb credits kind of pop out of nowhere.
Sure, sure.
So
Okay. Okay, so we discussed how podcasting is that filling the acting void right now for you?
it is. Yeah, I think so. It's in a strange way. Yes. I mean, I still love acting. I don't feel like I've like let go of that, but
Right.
it's a great time because, occasionally I'll get auditions and I'll get self tapes for stuff and things are slowly starting to open up. I don't know how, that window's if it's gonna shut down again or if it's gonna broaden, but yeah, it really is sort of fulfilling that a bit, for sure.
Now, I've noticed, just speaking personally, like doing this more has, that production side of it where you feel like a producer and almost a direct. Is
Oh,
that nudge
yeah.
coming out at all?
Oh, for sure. I've always wanted to be a producer, and I always thought that was something down the line I would do. Like I produced a couple shorts actually, like a couple short things with other people. But I think, this sort of this misconception that once you're big, once you have money, once you're
Yeah.
this, then you can do fill in the blank. Then you can be a producer, then you can direct. And I just don't think that's the case anymore. And I think that you're right. Like we are producers. We are producing a full show
Sure.
regardless if it's on YouTube or if it's on, just a podcast or if it's, et cetera. Like we're producing this. So it does feel that like I feel like I'm learning so much in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's more for me to learn, obviously, but I do think that, yeah, it's really, like feeding that like part of me that has always wanted to do something like this.
It's kind of pushed a little bit. My wife always tells me she thinks I would make a great director as far as like putting storylines together. And I think I'd be bad because my co-host Tony, I can never say no to him. So I'm not sure if that's a good director or not, but he always has great ideas. So that's a big reason why I don't say it. But I can say it again. I'm sorry.
You can always have a co-director that fulfills that thing for you. Like we'll always be that person who says no, but you'll have the creative vision.
That's fine. We'll take that. We'll go that route. Thank you so much for coming on. I need you to come back on once these auditions and stuff start rolling again, and once we have something more to promote.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I could talk about like next time, like the TV shows I've been on and the films I've been on and stuff. So
Name
there's
your top
all
one.
stuff to talk about. Yeah. Oh, that's hard. I really loved being on Homeland because I loved the show. I grew up watching. I'm not grew up. That sounds like it was only a few years ago. But like I just watched the show with my mom for a long time. It's based on an Israeli show. My mom's Israeli.
Oh, nice.
But I think one of my favorite roles was I was on a show called One Bad Choice on MTV, and I was the lead role in that show. And it was based on a true story about like a girl who so sad. A girl who she and her friend did ecstasy in high school at a party, and then one of them died, and my character got convicted for it. So super intense, not to end on, but just like, oh yeah, that was probably one of my favorite roles to do ever. Just like to be able to do justice to that story.
You wouldn't think that style story on MTV, like that seems
right.
Intense, like
it was different. It was a different type of scripted show for them,
Wow.
Yeah.
One Bad Choice.
One Bad Choice. It's really good. Yeah. Available on MTV.com. Yeah.
Okay, that one we'll have to check out. Very cool. What season of Homeland were you? Do you remember?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's season 6 or 7, but I know that the episode was called Sock Puppets. I always remember the name of the episode. I just always forget the season and episode, which I should remember, really.
I always felt bad. I did a House of Cards episode, and it was a featured role. It was probably arguably one of my best. And everyone would ask about it. They're like, okay, so what did you think about this? What did you think? But I didn't watch at that point. And it was season 2, and I hadn't watched up to that point.
I definitely seen season 2.
Okay, episode 5, around the 40-minute mark. Not that I know it off the top of my head, but yeah. But I felt horrible. So at that point, I was like, all right, let me go back and watch the show. And it was phenomenal. It was fantastic.
So good. It's such a good show. I think I stopped watching the last 2-3 seasons though. There's just so much going on. I really should watch it. I really loved it. It was a great show. Congrats on that. That's great.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Thank you so much for coming on. Mentors on the Mic, folks. Immediately subscribe to Mentors on the Mic. Check out Michelle Miller. She's under Michelle Simone Miller, right? On most of your socials. And we'll, of course, tag you on all of our things as well. And
Thank you.
please come back on anytime you want. And
I
maybe
would
we can
love
just randomly chat movies like we started off doing by accident.
I would love that. This has been great.
Have you been back to the theater yet?
You mean as like as an actor or like as a
To go to,
audience?
like, go as an audience to go to the movies.
Not yet.
We just went on Friday.
Really?
And
Where'd you go?
there's a place in Virginia. Tony lives in Virginia, and they opened up Tyson's Corner, limited seating, but for an IMAX, and it was Tenet, and we were like, all right, let's give it a whirl. And it was fine. We felt safe. We masked up. We
Good.
sanitized like the theater,
Yeah.
and they spaced us out, and neither of us got
Great.
food. We are like, we'll just pass on the food.
Yeah.
But it was wild because we hadn't been since March, and
Yeah.
it was like, you walked in and like the carpeting was, that funky carpeting that every theater has, and the popcorn smell. It was like almost emotional, like we're back. This is beautiful, like type thing.
Oh, that's so nice. It's nice to know that that's starting up again, and slowly but
Yeah.
surely, hopefully, it'll come here to New York.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. We'll get there one day, I hope.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you so much for being on Take Two
Thank
Podcast.
you. Thank you so much.